When it comes to the long-term vitality and sustainability of your boutique fitness studio business, one of the most important decisions you'll make is how to price your services. Now, this is a struggle that many business owner faces, and let's face it, the stakes are high. After all, your pricing is a reflection of the value that you deliver to your clients, and it can make or break your position in the market. You don't want to price too high or too low. No. Just like Goldilocks, your price has to be just right. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking all about just how to do that. Well, hi there, I'm Seran Glanfield. I'm a business and marketing strategist just for boutique fitness studio owners like you. If you're ready to be inspired and make a bigger impact, you're in the right place. All you need are a few key strategies, the right mindset, and some support along the way. Join me as I share the real-life insights that will help you grow a sustainable and profitable studio. This is the Pilates Business Podcast. Welcome back to the Pilates Business Podcast. I'm Seran, and I am here today to dive into the big topic of pricing. Now, as I record this for you, I've got here with me my Earl Grey tea. I don't know if anyone else is a fan of Earl Grey. I go back and forth, but that's my drink of choice for today. A little splash of milk and, well, anyway, I'm going a little off track here because we're here to talk about pricing, not tea, right? Now, as a former Pilates teacher and now a studio business consultant, the question of pricing is one that comes up again and again and again. In fact, I talk about pricing with every single one of my clients. And I know just how challenging it is to establish pricing inside my own businesses over the years. And, as I've worked with hundreds of studio owners, so many of them face this same conundrum. Now, we are going to tackle this issue today. We're going to tackle it head on. And so by the end of the show today, you're going to know the personal factor, and it is personal, that influences your pricing strategy. We're going to talk about why pricing yourself right is so important, how you should price your services. I am actually going to give you some numbers and a formula that you can use, and how you can talk about price increases, right? Because we know that once you set your prices, they don't stay there necessarily. All right. So we have a lot to dive into today. I want you to grab your notebook. If you are wanting to take notes, you might want to. If not, I suggest you come back to this episode and listen again, because there's a lot that I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay. So first up, we are going to dive into this big factor that comes into play when a business owner is pricing their services. And I would say that this is something that is especially relevant when the business is just getting started and when prices are perhaps being set for the very first time, or, if you're a studio owner who is perhaps doing a big overhaul in the way that you are pricing what you do, perhaps a change in the way that you deliver your services, or you're perhaps remodeling your pricing totally. Perhaps you're going into and switching out of a package type structure into a membership type structure, or perhaps into a credit type structure. Okay. And this personal trait that influences how you price your services, especially in the beginning, truly is your confidence. Now, I know that when you open a business and you launch a business, it's so exciting, right? There's a lot of energy that comes with that, but it also comes with a host of worries and fear too. And when you are starting out, I get it. The temptation to simply undercut your competition and get clients is really, really strong. But I'm here to tell you that that is not sustainable long term. And as we're going to talk about in a moment, you have to consider some of those hard costs as well as your value in the market to price your services right. And if you go down this route of trying to just be the cheapest, you may end up actually losing money on each and every sale you make, which is not good. Trust me when I say that I've seen it all. I have seen this happen. And when we look at the numbers and we realize just how off base we are with pricing, it is not good. Now, on top of that, if your goal is to undercut your competition and price low, you are at the risk of attracting clients who just want the lowest price, who don't want any of the value in the benefit that you offer. And perhaps you may not want to ultimately lock yourself into a position in the market that you can't get out of later. And maybe being the Walmart of boutique fitness is not where you're going with your business. All of these are things we need to consider. Now, the good news is that as your business grows and as you become more established, that concern, that fear that was driving your pricing strategy in the beginning will dissipate and your confidence will grow. So in the meantime, let's get into how to price your services so that you can work around that confidence, perhaps, and price your services in line with the real value that you add to your clients' lives. Okay. So what is the deal with pricing? I mean, naturally, there are lots of factors that determine whether your business thrives or fails. There really are. To say that it is all about price is not true at all. It comes down to a lot more than that. How you lead, the market in which you sell, your marketing, your team, and your expenses. Many other things are at work to help or hurt your business's health and sustainability. Now, pricing is one of the tools that we can use to help our business to thrive. Truly it is. If you use it in the right way, it's a tool that you use to help your business to thrive. And in my opinion, businesses, especially service-based businesses like yours, should never, ever seek to compete on price alone. If you set your price up to simply be lower than everyone else's, you got to think about the type of client that's going to bring you, okay? Clients and customers who bargain hunt are the very first customers who will jump ship and go elsewhere when they have the opportunity to get the same thing somewhere else, okay? These clients who are bargain hunters are not going to become your loyal brand evangelists who you count on to return again and again and again and bring their friends along and spread the word for you, okay? Yes, you will get people who are looking for, I would say, good value and a good deal, who will stay for sure. But the people who are looking at, who come along, and perhaps they're the type of people who ask you if you'll discount and if you can discount them, for no one else, and all these things, the things you don't offer. Those are the types of people we kind of don't tend to want to have as our kind of primary customer. Okay. Now, if you price too low, you risk attracting the wrong kind of client. Price too high, and you risk not attracting enough clients to cover your costs. Okay. So either way, your business will not do so well without getting this kind of piece of the puzzle in the right place. So how exactly do you do that? Okay. How exactly do you do that? And the truth is, it is a bit of an art and a science. How to price your services. This is where we need to get into the nitty-gritty, all of the details. So when figuring out what amount to set for your services, there are some very concrete, very calculatable numbers from your business that you absolutely must include in your pricing strategy. When it comes to thinking about your pricing, there is some, you need to crunch some numbers, truly, okay? And this is somewhat simple, straightforward, though part of the equation. So yes, you'll need a calculator. Better yet, if you are able to open up a spreadsheet of some sort, it will really, really help, okay? And what you want to start out calculating is how much it costs you to provide the services, okay? Because we want to make sure that you're pricing yourself to cover those costs. I know it sounds obvious, but this is an activity, I should say, that you definitely want to make sure that you have done and are doing on a regular basis. So what that looks like is you want to calculate the overhead, like your rent, your utilities, your insurance, marketing, advertising, any staffing costs. You want to make sure that you have got a good handle on what that looks like, either by the month or by the year, okay? And then once you have that, you are going to want to break out, you're going to want to look at how much essentially each private session, each class, or each hour of teaching costs you, okay? So that whatever your charging per hour is going to cover the cost per hour of delivering that service. Now, again, I know it makes so much sense, but let's just break it down by the numbers. And this is where I tend to see people kind of glaze over and kind of like raise their hands and say, I'm not good with numbers. Let me walk you through it. And this is an activity that I would really recommend that you do. Okay. So if you're looking at your expenses, say for last year, and if you have done your books for last year, you will have these numbers to hand. So this is a really good time to do this activity. Okay. Now let's just pick some easy numbers. Let's say your total expenses for the year were, say, $50,000. Okay. And let's just say that you run $500 per year. Okay. So if we take 50,000, I'm going to back up. Let's say your expenses are $50,000 per year and you run 500 sessions per year. Okay. So 500 privates or 500 classes, whatever it looks like. Okay. For you, take that total number. And what you want to do is take that 50,000 of expenses and divide it by the number of sessions. And what you get then is roughly the cost for delivering on average each of those sessions. Okay. Now the true cost will be different for each session, I'm sure, whether it's a class or a private, different teachers cost different amounts, so and so. But we're looking for the average, looking kind of big picture numbers, because this is going to help us figure out our pricing. Okay. So 50,000 in expenses divided by 500 sessions per year leaves us with $100 per session, which is the cost of running that session, right? So once we look at that, we say, okay, we need to cover $100 per session or per class. Whatever you price your sessions at, we have to make sure that it's covering that $100. And then we're covering our costs. Now, we haven't talked about profit yet. Okay, we're just covering the costs with that $100. So right now we know we need to charge or be making at least $100 per session or per class. Okay, now with your costs covered, which is a good thing, we want to add on your profit, right? And after all, you're in business to make a profit. You have to earn a living. Profits put food on your table and money in the college fund. Yes. So let's think about how much you want to make for each hour that you're teaching, right? Maybe it's 30%, maybe it's 50%. Let's just say it's 50%, okay? If you want to make 50%, then you want to price that in to your, you want to add that to your price point, okay? So now we've gone from $100 to cover costs, and let's say it's $50 to cover your profit, okay? Which means that you need to charge or make at least $150 for every hour that you teach. Now, once you look at these numbers and you plug them into a spreadsheet, you can play with them and you can see what makes sense, okay? And these numbers, your costs and your profit margins are concrete, okay? They are hard numbers that you can pull and plug into an equation. Now, what I will say is that we tend to ignore some of these things. Sometimes we don't want to look at our costs. I get it. It's not pretty sometimes. Sometimes we want to not be too greedy with our profit margins. We want to just wait and see what's left at the end of the day. I would really encourage you to think about what you want to make in your business and then work back from there. And it may make sense, depending on what that looks like, to then price your packages, your membership in a certain way. Okay. Now, most of you who are listening to me do a combination of one-on-one sessions and classes. And we're talking about the culmination of putting these together and combining them and looking at bigger picture. And so, I'm giving you some simple numbers here to think about. If you've got specific questions about your profit margin and your costs, and you want to talk through some of these numbers, I'm more than happy to talk through them with you. This is something that I do with a lot of my members inside of Thrive, because it's really important to understand what your profit margin, your costs are, so that you can not just price effectively, but you can know where your growth is going to come from and what you need to grow. Okay. So once you know your costs, your expenses, okay, once you know how much margin you want to make, the last part is where actually things get a little bit interesting. This is where we start to think about and consider your value. Okay. Now, with a service-based business like we have in the boutique fitness space, perceived value plays heavily on pricing. Yes, you will want to make sure that you're not pricing way out of line with competition, but we need to remind ourselves that your competition doesn't set your price for you, okay? Your price should be a reflection of what you have to offer your clients. And what you offer your clients is going to be different to what your competition offers their clients. This is where the experience they have inside of your studio, the benefits your clients get from their unique experience with you, what they get from your teachers and your business that cannot be found elsewhere. Remember that you are not simply selling a session. You are selling a lifestyle. You're selling health, vitality, youthfulness, community, and so much more. And can you charge a premium for that? Yes, you absolutely can, and you absolutely should. The key is to define these benefits and communicate them clearly to your ideal client. So much of your success, especially when it comes to positioning your business, and especially when it comes to talking about pricing, is around the message you are sending along with that price point. It's all about positioning, okay? So last but not least, I want to talk about how to handle price increases with your clients. Okay, now, quick bit of insight here. I am actually encouraging all of my studio owners inside of Thrive and that I'm working with one-on-one to strongly consider a price increase this year if they didn't already do so. Okay. Here's why. Number one, many studios have not increased the prices since 2020 or before because of the pandemic, which is very understandable. But we're in a new era now. We all know that this is something that we are going to be dealing with for a little bit longer. This is not that short-term blip that we thought it once was. We all still have businesses to run and bills to pay. Okay. And what we also know for this year especially is that costs are increasing. If you haven't been hit with a rent increase, beware. I'm seeing a lot of studios have their rent increase on them. And what we're going to see this year is inflation, which means that life is just going to be more expensive in 2022 than it was in 2021 or 2020. Okay. Inflation means that prices of all goods increase. And so if you're not raising your prices, you're going to be making less money for the same effort. And that is not the way to manage your business. So when it comes to raising prices for your clients, it's something that you're going to have to get comfortable with doing, because if you have yet to do it, now's the time. All right. And it's something that you should be thinking about on a regular basis. When is the next time you're going to raise your prices? This is a big part of your sort of big picture, long-term strategy. One of those things that you should be thinking about on a regular basis as you think about growth for your business and revenue growth for your business. Okay. Now, when it comes to letting your clients know and how to let them know that you're raising your prices, there are quite a few different ways to do it. And the right way for you will depend on your business model and your goals. Okay. So just like not everyone is going to get the same Pilates session, it really depends on the body and the goals and what they want to get out of their sessions, but also what they're able to achieve, right? The same is true for when it comes to managing your business and strategies to use inside of your business. Okay. However, there is one very important point that I want to share with you that will make it a lot easier for you and allow you to be a lot more successful with any pricing increases that you have. And that is that you want to be super clear in your communication and craft your message around your price change very carefully. Okay. I see that often we put off pricing increases because we don't want, really truly, because we don't want to tell our clients that we're going to raise the price on them. Okay. And I get it, but it means that we probably have to work on your communication skills and your marketing messaging. Because if you know how to present that price change in a way that actually adds credibility to your business, you will find that your clients will likely support you. Okay. So we want to make sure that you're being very clear and transparent with your pricing messaging. And that there is a few ways that you can inform your clients of any price changes that actually makes you feel, and it makes you seem very, I should say, shines you a very positive light on you, on the work that you're doing. Okay. And there are also some small things you can do to soften the blow And again, what that looks like will really depend on what you have going on in your business and what your business model is. Now, one thing I have to say that I would absolutely caution you against is doing a huge increase in your price points. Okay. I would much, much, much rather see you incrementally increase your pricing each year versus try to wait 5 years and then end up having to do huge increases in prices. Okay. And, I've seen this. I've seen some studios have to increase their pricing by almost 50%. And it just doesn't fly. It gets very messy. It gets very uncomfortable. And when you increase in significant amounts like that, you will lose clients. So little and often is, I think, a far better strategy for most studios. Okay. So it might sound crazy to someone may have increased their sessions from, $80 to $120 an hour. I've seen it. And it's exactly what you should do if you want to lose clients. If you are looking to increase your prices from $80 to $90 and you want to increase another 10 the following year, then that is much more feasible and much more reasonable and much more in line with what your clients may expect. Okay. So I would be very, very thoughtful about how you want to go about implementing your price changes and how frequently you want them to happen for your business. Okay. So there you have it. What you need to know to price your services that take into consideration your costs, your profits, and above all else, the real true value of what you have to offer. Like I said, this is a topic that really comes up a lot. And it does help to talk it through with people who understand your business and can give you feedback that is objective. And I do talk about it a lot with my clients, and especially with my membership, my Thrive group coaching program. And inside my Thrive studio owners, they share their strategies, and then they share their price points, and we talk through different ways that they can increase their pricing. And depending on their business, I give them my guidance and I offer some strategies that can help them. We also work on the communication and the messaging around all of that. And they have direct access to me to share all of the questions that they have along the way. And they also have access to a host of resources that they can use, including templates for emailing their clients about an upcoming price change, and lots of other resources that they can use as well. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Thrive, I would encourage you to go to my site, spring3.com/thrive. I'll also link to it in the show notes. So I hope this is helpful to you as you build your boutique fitness business. I really am here to help. So if you've got a topic you want me to cover, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, just get in touch. And if you are loving what you're hearing, I would be super, super appreciative if you could take a quick minute and go to wherever you're listening to this and rate and review this podcast. It would mean a ton to me and will help to get the podcast out to our community so that more teachers and more studio owners just like you can feel encouraged and supported on their journey in our industry. Did you love this episode and want more? Head to spring3.com and check out my free resources that will help you run a profitable and fulfilling studio business. And before you go, one last reminder, there is no one way to do what you do, only your way. So whatever it is that you want to do, create, or offer, you've got this. Thanks again for joining me today and have a wonderful rest of your day.